Nikko is a town at the entrance to Nikko National Park, most famous for Toshogu, Japan's most lavishly decorated shrine, and the mausoleum of Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate. Nikko had been a center of Shinto and Buddhist mountain worship for many centuries before Toshogu was built in the 1600s, and Nikko National Park continues to offer scenic, mountainous landscapes, lakes, waterfalls, hot springs, wild monkeys and hiking trails. Nikko and the Okuniko area around Lake Chuzenji, in particular, are well known for their beautiful autumn colors. In the average year, the colors start descending from the higher elevations of Yumoto Onsen in early October, are best around Lake Chuzenji and the Irohazaka Road in mid to late October, and reach the town of Nikko in the first half of November. Nikko National Park is the one of first national parks that opened in 1934. The park area straddles Fukushima, Tochigi, and Gunma prefectures, and the total area is 114,908 hectares. Most of the area is a mountainous region of the Nasu volcanic belt, with such mountains as Mount Shirain, the highest peak in the northern Kanto region, Mount Nantai, which has been renowned as an object of worship from ancient times, and Mount Nazadake, which is still an active volcano. These mountains have wide plateaus at their bases, and the additional beauty of lakes, reservoirs, magnificent falls, and valleys with splendid autumn leaves, all of which were created by volcanic activity. In addition, there is the beautiful fusion of a number of historic World Heritage temples and shrines and the natural scenery surrounding them. Nikko National Park boasts easy access by train or car from areas around Tokyo and is, therefore, popular as a spot where visitors can experience nature, history, and culture. Nasukashi/Shiobara area. The Nasukashi and Shiobara area has volcanic mountains and large plateaus, with representing Mount Chaosu that is still fuming. There also are many strands of valleys formed after mountains and plateaus were eroded by a number of rivers, such as the Abukuma River. The Nikko/Kanagawa/Kuriyama areas have stratovolcanoes of Mount Nantai, Mount Nyoho, and Mount Akanaji, as well as many lava domes and small volcanoes, which are collectively called the Nikko Volcanic Group. At the bases and hillsides of the Nikko Volcanic Group are lakes, reservoirs, wetlands, and falls created by the effect of volcanic activities and offer the visitor a rich variety of topography and geological features. Nasukashi/Shiobara area. From the mountain bases to the hillsides, this area is covered by rich forests, and as the elevation increases, the landscape changes from broadleaf deciduous forests of Japanese beech and oak trees at the bases to coniferous forests mainly of fir and thuja trees. On the ridgelines along the peaks of Mount Nazadake, although the elevation is less than 2,000 m, visitors can observe alpine vegetation, such as creeping pine trees, because of the cold climate and volcanic soil among other factors. Plants are very wide in variety, and species belonging both to the Pacific side and the Sea of Japan side are seen. Characteristic plants include alpine plants on Mount Nazadake and marsh plants in Numapuramore. Photo of broadleaf forest of Nasu Heisenomori Forest. Broadleaf forest of Nasu Heisenomori Forest. Nikko/Kanagawa/Kuriyama areas. At the foot of the mountains are a deciduous broadleaf forest zone of mainly Japanese beech and oak with some maple, showing stunning colored leaf scenes in autumn. Coniferous forests are prominent in areas above an altitude of about 1,600 m, and Erman's birch trees are in even higher places. The ridgelines and summits, above the altitude of about 2,400 m, are characterized by shrubby, herbaceous alpine belt vegetation, providing unobstructed open views. On the flat areas on hillsides and at the bases, there are such wetlands as Kinanuma Swamp and Senjogahara. Photo of colored leaves on Biobiwa Cliff. Colored leaves on Biobiwa Cliff. This area is inhabited by a very wide variety of flora due to the varied geography and vegetation. For plants, the flora native to wetlands and alpine belt are typical, some of which even have the word Nikko in their names. The establishment of Nikko National Park dates to the early 20th century. The Diet of Japan designated Nikko an imperial park in 1911. The National Parks Law was passed in 1931, and Nikko National Park was established in 1934. The park was expanded throughout the 20th century. Oz National Park was once part of Nikko National Park, but became a separate national park in 2007. The park is considered one of the most beautiful in Japan, and is a popular tourist destination. Beyond its striking scenery, the park is noted for its historical Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines, most notably the Nikko Toshogu and Ryuzu. They are designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site as the shrines and temples of Nikko. The park is free entry and is divided into 3 zones, such as Nikko, Kanugawa/Kuriyama, Nasu-Kashi/Shiobara. This expanse is covered with deciduous forests of Japanese beech and oak in the lowlands and coniferous forest on the mountain slopes. Ride the Nasu gondola in the north of the park to get a panoramic view of the cork azalea, Rhododendron quinquefolium, which has a distinctive white bloom in spring. Mount Nazadake is the heart of this area. To get to the trailhead of the Mount Nasu hiking trail, ride up on the Nasu ropeway. From there you can track the surrounding volcanic peaks, including still active Mount Chaosu. Continue along the Nasu mountain range traverse to ascend Mount Asahi and Mount Sandanyari. You can even cycle through the snow on Mount Nasu in winter on a guided tour. If you prefer an easier hike, take the Yada Azalea and Nasu Nature Path in Mount Nasu's foothills. The boardwalk path is famous for Japanese rhododendron, which turns the area into a sea of crimson blooms in early summer. The path offers views of the nearby mountains and access to many of the local hot springs. You can also visit Hapagahara Plateau, another area famous for rhododendron. At the Nasu Hisanomori Forest Field Center, you can choose from a range of eco-activities and guided walks through the countryside. Hike along the Nasu Hisanomori Forest Trail to picturesque Komadome Falls or walk the Ikamanto-Nomori Forest Trail surrounded by Japanese red pines. South of the Nasu area, the Hoki River has carved deep into the volcanic rock to create Shiobara Gorge. Hike any of the 3 main walking trails along the river to view waterfalls, suspension bridges and more marshland. You may catch glimpses of native deer, Japanese serows and Asiatic black bears along the way. Nikko City has a direct train line from Tokyo, and is a great place to start exploring Nikko National Park. A 50-minute bus ride from the bus terminal in front of Tobu Nikko Station will get you to Lake Chuzenji. Learn about the area's natural features at the Nikko Natural Science Museum before heading to nearly 100-meter high Kegon Falls on the lake's eastern end. Keep an eye out for Japanese macaques, which can be found throughout the park's woodlands. Lake Chuzenji has been a center of tourism and culture for centuries. See the groundbreaking architecture of the former diplomatic residence of the Italian ambassador, for example, and enjoy a traditional English scone at British Embassy Villa Memorial Park. You can also do more physical activities around here, such as boating and stand-up paddle boarding. This area is famous for hot spring baths, known as onsen. One is Nikko Yumoto Onsen on the shore of Lake Unoko, just north of Lake Chuzenji. Here you can hike and camp in the summer, ski in the winter, and bathe in the hot volcanic springs all year round. Be sure to visit the public onsen at Onsenji, a Buddhist temple founded in 788, at the northern end of town. Next to the temple is Unadera Marsh, where hot spring water bubbles up through the earth. The Kanto region's highest peak, Mount Nikko Shrine, 2,578 m, dominates the Lake Unoko area. You'll have a choice of 2 routes to the summit. Hike the challenging mountain trail from Lake Suganuma, which passes by scenic Lake Gashikanuma, or ride the Maranuma ropeway and then walk the trail to the summit. The Kanugawa River runs north to south through the heart of the park. On the river, you can enjoy boat tours and rafting. The area is also famous for onsen resorts. Upstream is Seto-Aikyo Canyon, where sheer cliffs plunge 100 meters to the valley floor. This is one of the prime spots for viewing the changing woodland colors during the fall.